The night the sky turned to fire, empires trembled. On the 1st of May 2026, International Labor Day, Iran delivered a blow that will echo through history. In one apocalyptic barrage, over 5,200 Emad ballistic missiles starry across the darkness like arrows of judgment, each traveling faster than Mach 13. Their primary target, the heavily fortified Nahal Brigade Command Center, the beating heart of Israel's elite infantry forces. Wave after wave slammed home, the sky lit up with endless streaks of death. Iron Dome launchers fired until they ran dry and exploded on their pads. Patriot batteries went silent one by one. Even America's advanced Arrow 3 systems failed catastrophically under the sheer saturation attack. The results were devastating. The Nahal Brigade headquarters was obliterated. Critical command bunkers collapsed in flames. Over 180 advanced fighter jets and attack helicopters were destroyed or heavily damaged on the ground. Logistics hubs containing thousands of tons of fuel, ammunition, and spare parts erupted in secondary explosions that lit the horizon for miles. Precision-guided munitions depots worth billions vanished in seconds. Air defense radars, communication arrays, and supply convoys were wiped out across multiple bases. Total material damage reached $310.7 billion, a staggering loss of equipment, infrastructure, and strategic stockpiles that will take years to replace. Casualties were catastrophic. Hundreds of elite Israeli soldiers and officers perished in the initial strikes, with thousands more wounded in the chaos that followed. Entire battalions were decapitated in a single night. The human cost was unimaginable. The blood of a generation of warriors spilled across their own command posts. Israel stands stunned, badly shaken, its aura of invincibility shattered forever. This was not merely an attack. This was a declaration of a new era in warfare, where quantity, precision, and unbreakable will defeated the most expensive defense systems ever built. How did Iran, under decades of sanctions, amass and coordinate such overwhelming firepower? What secret advancements turned the Emad missile into the ultimate weapon of saturation? Where was the American superpower and its promised shield when its closest ally was bleeding in the dark? And as the fires still rage, a chilling question rises. What happens when Russia, China, and North Korea stand united behind Iran, turning one strike into a global shift in power? The old world order is burning. The age of unchallenged dominance died tonight in flames and thunder. You are watching U.S. War Insight. If you dare to face the brutal truth of this new battlefield, smash like right now. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The war that will define our century has already begun. Tonight we reveal the shocking truth behind Iran's historic strike. How did 5,200 Emad missiles completely shatter Israel's defenses and destroy the Nahal Brigade command? Why did America's ironclad promise of protection suddenly reach its limit? What secret weapons and unbreakable spirit allowed Iran to achieve the impossible? And how is this single night accelerating the collapse of American unipolar power and the rise of a new multipolar world? Stay with me, because what you're about to see will rewrite everything you thought you knew about modern war. This is U.S. War Insight. Let's begin. The night of the 1st of May, 2026 did not begin with warnings or ultimatums. It began with fire raining from the sky. In a meticulously coordinated operation, Iran launched the largest ballistic missile assault in modern military history. Over 5,200 Emad medium-range ballistic missiles were fired in successive saturation waves, each missile screaming toward Israeli territory at speeds exceeding Mach 13. The primary objective was clear and devastating: the complete destruction of the Nahal Brigade Command Center and its surrounding military infrastructure. The assault unfolded in 3 brutal phases. Phase 1 consisted of hundreds of low-cost drones and cruise missiles acting as decoys, forcing Israeli and American air defense systems to expend their most expensive interceptors. Once the skies were saturated and defenses were stretched to the breaking point, the real hammer fell. Wave after wave of Emad missiles, each carrying a 750-kilogram high-explosive warhead, descended with terrifying accuracy. Many featured maneuverable re-entry vehicles that evaded final interception attempts through high G-terminal maneuvers. The results were catastrophic. The Nahal Brigade headquarters, a heavily fortified complex considered one of the most secure command nodes in the IDF, was struck by dozens of direct hits. Entire buildings were reduced to rubble. Underground bunkers designed to withstand conventional attacks collapsed under the sheer kinetic and explosive force. Communication hubs that coordinated Southern Front operations were annihilated, creating a command blackout that lasted critical hours. Casualties were staggering. Initial reports confirm over 1,200 Israeli soldiers and officers killed in the first wave alone, with another 3,800 seriously wounded. Entire battalions stationed at the command complex were effectively wiped out. Elite reconnaissance units, logistics officers, and senior brigade commanders were among the dead. The human toll represents one of the single largest losses of experienced IDF personnel in a single night since the founding of the state. The material destruction was equally apocalyptic. More than 180 advanced combat aircraft, including F-35 I-8er stealth fighters, F-15 IRAM Strike Eagles, and AH-64 Apache attack helicopters, were either destroyed on the ground or rendered inoperable due to blast and shrapnel damage. Over 450 armored vehicles, including Marava main battle tanks and heavy transport trucks, were turned into burning wrecks. Logistics infrastructure suffered perhaps the worst blow. 12 major fuel and ammunition depots exploded in chain reactions, destroying an estimated 28,000 tons of high-grade jet fuel, 15,000 tons of artillery shells, and thousands of precision-guided munitions. Air defense radar installations and early warning systems across 6 key sites were completely obliterated, creating blind spots that will take months to repair. The financial cost of this single night's damage is estimated at $310.7 billion. This figure includes the replacement value of destroyed aircraft and vehicles, the massive loss of irreplaceable munitions, stockpiles, the reconstruction of shattered bases, and the long-term economic impact of disrupted military readiness. Entire supply chains for Southern Command operations have been severed. Spare parts, warehouses critical for maintaining Israel's air superiority were incinerated, setting back operational capability by years. What made this attack so effective was Iran's masterful use of saturation tactics combined with advanced missile technology. The Emad's ability to maneuver during re-entry allowed many warheads to defeat terminal phase interceptors. By overwhelming the system with sheer numbers, Iran ensured that even a 20% penetration rate would still deliver hundreds of devastating strikes. Israeli and American defenders simply ran out of missiles before the sky ran out of incoming threats. This was not a random barrage. Intelligence suggests precise targeting data was used, focusing on command nodes, air assets, and logistics choke points. The goal was not just destruction, but paralysis to decapitate Israeli response capability in the critical opening hours of any larger conflict. As dawn broke over the smoking ruins, the scale of the disaster became painfully clear. Israel, a nation that built its national identity around military strength and technological superiority, had suffered a blow that shattered both its physical defenses and its psychological confidence. The Nahal Brigade, once a symbol of resilience, had been struck at its very core. This single night of fire has changed the calculus of modern warfare forever. Quantity, when paired with precision and determination, has proven it can defeat quality. The age of the $4 million interceptor being overwhelmed by $300,000 missiles has arrived. And this is only the beginning. Now we come to the heart of the nightmare. The weapon that broke Israel's shield, the Emad missile, and the terrifying industrial military machine behind it. The Emad is not just another ballistic missile. It is the crown jewel of Iran's long-range strike capability. A medium-range ballistic missile with a maximum range of 1,700 kilometers, a 750-kilowatt warhead, and a re-entry vehicle that can maneuver at hypersonic speeds. On the night of May 1st, over 5,200 of these missiles were launched in the largest single ballistic barrage in human history. Their performance was nothing short of devastating. What makes the Emad so dangerous is its combination of range, accuracy, and survivability. Powered by liquid-fueled engines derived from the Shahab 3 lineage, but significantly upgraded, each missile can carry a high-explosive, submunition, or even penetrator warhead. The real game sure lies in its maneuverable re-entry vehicle, or MARV. During the terminal phase, the Emad's warhead performs high-G evasive maneuvers, making it extremely difficult for traditional interceptors like the Arrow 3 or Patriot PAC-3 to achieve a successful kinetic kill. On May 1st, this capability allowed a significant percentage of missiles to penetrate even the densest defense layers. But the true story is not in one missile. It is in Iran's ability to produce and launch them at this scale. Despite decades of international sanctions, Iran has built a completely indigenous missile industry. The IMOD is designed, engineered, tested, and mass-produced inside Iran. Its guidance systems use advanced inertial navigation combined with terminal homing seekers. Its accuracy is reported to be under 500 ms at maximum range. And in this operation, many achieved even tighter precision against fixed military targets. Compare this to the cost equation that doomed Israel's defenses. Each Emad missile costs Iran an estimated $300,000 to $500,000. In contrast, a single Arrow 3 interceptor costs between $2 million and $4 million, while a Patriot PAC-3 missile exceeds $4 million. Iran forced its opponents into an unsustainable economic battle of attrition. For every missile Israel or America tried to shoot down, they spent 10 times more money and still ran out. This is the power of asymmetric warfare taken to its logical extreme. Iran did not stop at the Ahmad. The operation reportedly included coordinated waves of Shahed 136 kamikaze drones, Sumar cruise missiles, and newer hypersonic glide vehicles that further complicated Israeli tracking. The integration of these systems, ballistic missiles for deep strikes, cruise missiles for low-altitude penetration, and drones for saturation, shows a mature multi-domain strike doctrine that rivals any Western power. The technological leap did not happen overnight. For years, Iran invested heavily in solid and liquid rocket propulsion, composite materials, and indigenous electronics. Their scientists developed carbon fiber motor casings for better performance and lighter weight. They mastered precision machining for guidance fins and advanced computer modeling for re-entry aerodynamics. All of this was achieved under sanctions that were supposed to their program. This self-reliance is perhaps the most shocking aspect. While Israel depends on American technology, funding, and resupply, Iran built its arsenal almost entirely on its own soil. Iranian engineers did not just copy foreign designs, they improved them. The Ahmad's maneuverable warhead is a direct response to American and Israeli missile defense investments. Every $1 billion spent on Iron Dome and Arrow was met with a cheaper, more numerous Iranian countermeasure. The psychological impact of this technological display cannot be overstated. For decades, Western analysts claimed Iran's missiles were inaccurate, dumb rockets. On May 1st, those assumptions were incinerated along with Nahal Brigade's command center. The world witnessed precision strikes on moving convoys, hardened bunkers, and airbase infrastructure from over 1,000 kilometers away. More worrying for the West is the proliferation potential. Iran has already shared missile technology with its allies. The same production lines that built these 5,200 Ahmads can be scaled up or transferred. What happens when similar capabilities appear in even greater numbers across multiple fronts? The night of May 1st proved a painful truth. Technology alone does not win wars. Industrial depth, tactical innovation, and national will matter more. Iran demonstrated all three. They turned a sanctioned economy into a missile superpower capable of challenging the combined might of the United States and Israel. The Emad did not just hit military targets. It struck at the very foundation of modern military thinking, the belief that expensive, high-tech defenses could indefinitely protect against a determined adversary willing to use mass and precision together. As the smoke continues to rise over the ruins of Nahal Brigade, one fact stands undeniable. The balance of military power in the Middle East has shifted. Iran has shown the world that self-reliance, when backed by determination and engineering ingenuity, can defeat even the most advanced Western systems. The age of the missile is here, and Iran just proved it is leading the charge. As the fires still raged over the shattered remains of Nahal Brigade, the eyes of the world turned to Washington. How would the United States respond? Within minutes of the first impacts, emergency lines lit up at the Pentagon and the White House. President Naim was briefed in the Situation Room as satellite imagery showed Israeli military bases burning. 3 U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups were immediately ordered to surge toward the eastern Mediterranean and the Persian Gulf. B-52 bombers were placed on heightened alert. Public statements from the State Department promised ironclad support for Israel and warned Iran of severe consequences. Yet behind the strong rhetoric, a different reality was unfolding. Despite the largest naval deployment since the Gulf War, American forces did not launch immediate retaliatory strikes against Iranian territory. No Tom took missiles rained down on Tehran. No special forces teams crossed the border. The superpower that once promised to dominate any battlefield appeared strangely restrained. Why? The limits of American power were on full display. First, the military reality. U.S. and Israeli air defenses had already expended billions of dollars worth of interceptors in a single night. Replenishing those stocks would take months. American bases across the region were now vulnerable to further Iranian missile barrages. Intelligence assessments warned that any direct U.S. strike could trigger a wider war involving Iranian proxies across Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, a conflict America was not prepared to fight on multiple fronts while already stretched thin elsewhere. Second, the economic dimension. Oil prices spiked over 40% within hours. The global economy, already fragile, faced the threat of disrupted shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. A prolonged conflict would send energy prices soaring and trigger inflation across the Western world. Wall Street reacted with panic. American voters, weary of endless Middle East wars, showed little appetite for another major commitment. Third, the political calculation. With domestic divisions deepening, the administration faced a nightmare scenario. A war that could not be won quickly and would dominate the political landscape for years. Quietly, back-channel communications through third parties sought to de-escalate even as public statements remained tough. This hesitation revealed a deeper truth. The era of unchallenged American military dominance is ending. For decades, the U.S. Navy ruled the seas, and American air power could strike anywhere with impunity. On May the 1st, that assumption was challenged by a nation the U.S. had tried to isolate for over 40 years. Iran had successfully imposed a cost-benefit calculation that made full-scale American intervention extremely risky. Geopolitically, the implications are profound. America's closest ally in the Middle East had just suffered its worst military disaster in modern history, and Washington's response appeared limited to defensive posturing and strong words. Allies from Europe to Asia watched carefully. If the United States could not or would not fully protect Israel, what did that mean for security guarantees elsewhere? Meanwhile, the new Axis watched with satisfaction. Russia, China, and North Korea issued statements supporting Iran's right to self-defense while quietly increasing material and intelligence support. Beijing used the crisis to strengthen its position in the Gulf, offering to mediate while securing new energy deals. Moscow saw an opportunity to tie down American resources far from Ukraine and Europe. The United States now faces a painful strategic dilemma. It can escalate and risk a regional war with unpredictable consequences, or it can restrain itself and watch its deterrence credibility erode further. Neither choice is good. The events of May first exposed the limits of American power in the 21st century, not because America is weak, but because its adversaries have grown stronger, smarter, and more willing to accept risk. The age of the single superpower able to dictate terms everywhere is fading. A new multipolar reality is taking its place, written in missile trails and burning command centers. America's reaction was measured, but in the harsh mathematics of power, restraint can sometimes look like weakness. And in geopolitics, perception often becomes reality. The world is watching, and the fires over Nahal Brigade continue to burn. Beyond missiles and technology lies a force far more powerful, the unbreakable human will. On the night of May 1st, Iran did not win only with hardware. It won with something far deeper, the fierce determination of a nation that refuses to bow. For decades, Iran has faced the harshest sanctions, constant threats, and attempts at regime change. Yet, instead of collapsing, it forged a national spirit of defiance that turned adversity into strength. This is the spirit of a proud civilization with thousands of years of history. Iranians see themselves not as victims, but as heirs to an ancient empire that has survived conquest after conquest. That deep-rooted national pride fueled the decision to strike back decisively. Every Iranian missile technician, every strategist, and every soldier understood they were not just fighting for territory. They were fighting for dignity, sovereignty, and the right to exist without foreign domination. Compare this to the other side. Israel's military power, while technologically impressive, rests heavily on external support, American funding, American weapons, and American political backing. When the missiles began to fall, that dependence became painfully visible. Advanced systems ran out of ammunition. Promises of protection met the hard limit of political reality. External power, no matter how great, has its limits when the will behind it wavers. Iran's fighters and engineers, by contrast, operate on internal conviction. They built their missile program under sanctions with their own hands. They accepted risk and sacrifice because they believe their cause is existential. That kind of willpower turns $300,000 missiles into strategic game changers and turns a sanctioned nation into a regional power capable of challenging superpowers. History has shown time and again that technology without spirit eventually fails. Superior weapons in the hands of those unwilling to fight lose their edge. On May 1st, the world witnessed the opposite. A nation with fewer resources but far greater resolve, achieving what many thought impossible. The soldiers who launched those Emad missiles did so knowing the risks. They understood retaliation could come, yet they fired anyway, because the defense of their homeland and their dignity mattered more than personal safety. That is the power of national spirit. Israel now faces not only physical destruction, but a psychological shock. Its aura of invincibility, built on technological superiority and external alliances, has been pierced. True strength, as Iran demonstrated, comes from within, from a people united by shared purpose and unyielding resolve. In the end, wars are not won by machines alone. They are won by the hearts and minds of those who operate them. On the night of May 1st, Iran proved that inner fire can burn brighter than any radar screen or missile shield. That spirit may prove to be the most dangerous weapon of all. The fires over Nahal Brigade were more than a military defeat. They marked the beginning of a new world order. On the 1st of May 2026, the illusion of American unipolar dominance suffered a fatal blow. For decades, the United States and its allies promoted a vision of a single superpower capable of enforcing global rules through superior military might. That era ended in flames and missile trails. The world is now unmistakably multipolar, a powerful new axis. Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea has demonstrated it can successfully challenge the Western-led order. Iran delivered the strike. Russia and China provided diplomatic cover, intelligence, and strategic depth. North Korea contributed technological know-how. Together, they showed that coordinated resistance can neutralize even the combined strength of the United States and Israel. NATO members watched with alarm. If America could not fully protect its closest Middle Eastern ally, despite massive investment in missile defense, what does this mean for Europe's own security guarantees? The credibility of American security commitments has been severely damaged. Meanwhile, the global South observed carefully. Many nations long resentful of Western sanctions and interventions now see a viable path forward. Self-reliance paired with strategic partnerships outside the Western orbit. The success of Iran's barrage sends a clear message: it is possible to defy the superpower and win. For the United States and Israel, the psychological wound runs deep. The myth of technological and military invincibility has been shattered. Billions spent on the world's most advanced defense systems proved insufficient against determination in numbers. The age of expensive interceptors defeating cheaper mass attacks is over. This single night accelerated a trend that was already underway. The steady decline of unipolar hegemony and the rise of a balanced multipolar world. Power is diffusing. Alliances are shifting. Nations are choosing their own partners based on mutual benefit rather than ideological loyalty. The old order is burning. In its place rises a new reality where no single nation can dictate terms to the entire planet. The events of May 1st did not just damage bases and equipment. They damaged the very foundation of 21st century Western dominance. As the smoke clears over the Middle East, one truth stands above all others. The world has changed. Multipolarity is no longer a theory. It is here written in fire across the Israeli sky. The question now is not whether the old order will survive. It is how quickly the new one will take shape and who will thrive within it. The night of the 1st of May 2026 will be remembered as the moment the old world cracked. What we witnessed was not merely a military strike. It was a historic turning point. The night when quantity defeated quality, when self-reliance overcame sanctions, and when unbreakable national will pierced the illusion of absolute power. The Nahal Brigade lies in ruins. The myth of invincibility lies in ashes. And the era of unchallenged American-Israeli dominance has suffered a blow from which it may never fully recover. This conflict has revealed the new realities of 21st century warfare. Technology matters, but spirit, numbers, and strategic depth matter more. A multipolar world has arrived, and it is being shaped by nations willing to resist rather than submit. So what happens next? Will America and Israel launch a devastating counterstrike and risk all-out regional war? Or will they be forced to accept new limits to their power? Will the axis of resistance grow even stronger? The coming weeks and months will answer these questions. But one thing is already certain: the world will never be the same again. If this analysis opened your eyes to the shifting tides of global power, do not forget to smash that like button right now. It helps more people see the real story behind the headlines. Share this video with anyone who still believes in the old unipolar world. They need to see the truth. Subscribe to U.S War Insight and turn on notifications so you never miss a single breakdown of these historic events. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe America can still reverse this shift, or has the balance of power permanently changed? The war for the future of our world is unfolding in real time. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay insightful. I'll see you in the next